Kyle, I know you saw Peter Thiel's comments, too, about the Chinese. They do a lot of Bitcoin mining. There is a digital yuan in the works, I guess, or at least there's plans for things like that. Is that a challenge to the dollar in terms of global supremacy? And is it, when I read it, I had to laugh that China is debasing our currency. I said that we may have some domestic debasers that we need to talk to about that as well. But is that what you're seeing from China? And do we need to be aware of that and get cracking?
Yeah, so Joe, this is the single most important move on the global chessboard in the last 20 years, is how the United States and its allies interfaces or doesn't interface with the Chinese central bank digital currency. There are 80% of central banks around the world are in some stage of researching or rolling out a new digital currency. 35 are in advanced stages and close to rollout. The U.S. is in close. What we must understand is a central bank digital currency isn't a currency. It's our adoption of a Chinese tech stack. It's basically a currency that knows everything about you if you have it. They know who you are. They know how you spend your money. They will export their digital authoritarianism on you, Joe. If you say anything negative about China and you happen to have some Chinese CBDC in your account, they can just turn it off. They can make it so that you can't spend it. This is something that we must, you say, get cracking. This is something that we and our allies must realize is the single largest threat to our rules-based order and democracies around the world. I
asked Minority Leader McCarthy about some comments from Fed Chair Powell and Secretary Yellen from a couple of weeks ago that we've scratched our heads about quite a bit, and their take on digital currency, on Bitcoin in general. Do you think they're in a position to guide us forward with that? Or, I mean, they're both very smart and well-read, and they wouldn't have their positions if they weren't. What's missing in terms of understanding what could be the future and not being ready for it?
Again, I think it's this geopolitical threat of the adoption of a Chinese tech stack, not just that they're rolling out some sort of digital currency and they've got only 1% of global settlements today, and so they have 1% of digital settlements. That's not the case. Joe, imagine what China's going to do. Here are the first things they're going to do. You talked about division and how they talk about, don't lecture us about human rights when we have all of the divisions, racial divisions, and all the tensions we have here. That's China's MO. What they do is they sow divisions with our open borders, our open society, and our open information stack. And that's what they do as an operating force. We don't have a global propaganda department here in the U.S. So when you ask me, are Yellen and Powell ready? Yeah, I mean, they're part of the old guard. They're incredibly bright. They know exactly what they're doing in central banking. But this is economic war that we're talking about. And the bad news is we don't have an economic war department stood up. We have a great kinetic war department. We have a great cyber war department. We don't have an economic war department, and we need one.
So what's going to change to put us in a position where we're better able to face this challenge? And do you expect that to happen?
So the good news is behind the scenes, many of our various important agencies and departments are working night and day on trying to understand what this rollout means. And China seems to be moving forward the rollout of their own central bank digital currency. Imagine China's first move is going to say anyone that does business with us or invests in China is going to have to settle in our CBDC. They're going to make an offer you can't refuse if you're chasing riches in China. Well, then all of a sudden, literally overnight, the amount of currency that settles, trade that settles in Chinese central bank digital currency will be multiples of what it is today. And their influence in the world will immediately, almost overnight, become so much greater. And again, that puts them in a position to export their digital authoritarianism. We can't allow this to happen. There actually is no way to become partially infected with their new central bank digital currency. It's either all or none. I believe we should ban it. I think it should be illegal. And let's hope China doesn't get so far ahead of the ball that they get it in the system. Joe, this is going to make private cryptocurrency an afterthought. It's going to be a sideshow. Whether we talk about Bitcoin or Ether or this or that, it just won't matter. CBDCs are the game, and that's where we all have to focus.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.